Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session today. Very warm welcome. Hi, so my name is Xiaoying. I'm from the Global Engagement team here at Queen Mary. Thank you so much for joining our training session today for the Queen Mary Foundation and Pre-Master. I see people are joining us today, so I'm going to give a minute or so before we kick off. Hi, Henry. All right. Hello and welcome all to our Queen Mary Foundation and Pre-Master session today. Great, so we've got the full house here now for all our panelists. So before I start, I want to give a brief introduction to our colleague joining us today. Thank you all so much. It's an honor to have you all today. So again, my name is Xiaoying and I'm the International Pathway Recruitment Manager here at the Global Engagement team. I'm very pleased to be joined by my colleague Chris, Jenny, and Henry from different teams. So would you like to give a brief introduction? Chris? Or Jenny, do you want to?
Thank you, Xiaoyang. Sorry. Well, thank you for being here. My name is Chris Massell. I'm the program convener for the International Foundation Year. This is the level 3 program that provides a direct route into undergraduate degrees, and I'll be happy to tell you a little bit more about the program in a bit.
Thanks, Chris. Jenny?
Hi, yes, I'm Jenny Brown. I run the Pre-Masters Level 6 Pre-Masters Graduate Diploma here at Queen Mary and look forward to telling you a bit more about it later in this session. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. Henry?
Hi, Dan. I'm Henry. I'm an international student advisor working in advice and counselling service here at Queen Mary. So I'm part of a team who provide immigration advice to current students and applicants. I'll be here to talk you through some visa-related things.
Thank you so much all for joining today. Great, so let's start the session and I'm going to share my slides here. Okay, so I hope you can all see it okay. Great. Right. So first of all, I'm going to give an overview of the Queen Mary Foundation and the Pre-Masters program. So for the Queen Mary University, I'm sure many of you are very familiar already. So we are one of the Russell Group universities here in the UK. We are ranked 120 in the world in the QS ranking. And so in the US News ranking, we are actually top 100 in the world. So really good ranking for our university. And really proud to have 9 Nobel Prize winners here at Queen Mary in different subject areas. And as you see, it's a truly global profile of our students here at Queen Mary. We have about 33,000 students and close to 40% are international students from all over the world. And we also have regional office and regional teams to support our students from China, Southeast Asia, South Asia, and the USA. So for the Queen Mary Foundation and Pre-Masters programs, it's an in-house foundation and pre-master that's run and taught here at Queen Mary, taught by our Queen Mary academics. So the International Foundation program has been running for over 30 years and it's very widely accepted and highly respected program. It's also the only foundation program that's taught on the Queen Mary campus and is also taught by our Queen Mary academics, working very closely with different schools here at Queen Mary to ensure our students have the opportunity to progress to a Queen Mary bachelor degree here. So for the foundation program, students will get guaranteed progression to their chosen degree as long as they complete the foundation and meet the relevant requirements. So that means no further application is required after they finish the foundation program. When they apply, if the application is successful, then they get 2 offers, one for the foundation year and one for the bachelor degree that they want to progress to. For the foundation program, we offer 2 main streams. One is in the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences. The other one is in the Faculty of Science and Engineering. For humanities and social sciences, there are 7 pathways that students can choose from in business and management, economics and finance, geography and development studies, humanities and social sciences, law, literature, film and drama, as well as politics and international relations. So under all these different pathways, there are different degrees that students can choose from. So there are many different degrees in the different pathways here. So we offer both standalone and integrated foundation here for students to choose from. For business and management, as well as economics and finance, students can choose either integrated or the standalone foundation. For all the other pathways, it's the standalone foundation option. So for humanities and social sciences, we offer both September and January start for the foundation program with progression to the bachelor degree in the following September entry. And tuition fee is £25,000 for 2025. And it's a 9-month program. So if students start in September, then they finish around June, May or June. And then if they start in January, then they finish around August for the next September entry. So we also offer Science and Engineering Foundation. There are, again, 7 pathways in Science and Engineering faculty in Biological Sciences, Chemical Sciences, Electronic Engineering. So that is the pathway if students are interested in computer science programs. And then Engineering, Material Science, Mathematics, and Physics. So for the Science and Engineering Foundation, all offers both standalone and the integrated option, except for computer science. And if students they want to study computer science foundation, just be mindful, it's September's intake only, so they will need to start in September in order to study the foundation program. And for the integrated foundation option, like I said, we offer integrated as well as standalone option. So 64 bachelor degrees here, we have the integrated foundation option. So that will be all programs in science and engineering, except for the computer science and in humanities and social sciences. This will be in business and management as well as economics and finance. So when students they choose the standalone or the integrated option, we often get asked what's the main difference or what's the benefit. So for the integrated foundation, the students they will get 4-year CAS and a 4-year visa to cover the whole duration of the foundation program as well as the bachelor degree. So that is very beneficial for students, especially if they are determined to study here at Queen Mary for the bachelor degree, and that means they don't need to apply for the visa again. But in terms of the course content and the progression requirements, the integrated or the standalone, they are the same. So entry requirements, we can accept high school diploma from many countries for the International Foundation Program. And you can scan the QR code here that will go to the webpage for entry requirement by country. Then you can see the detail of students that you're hoping to apply for. So in addition to the local high school diploma, we also accept AS level, A level, or IB for the foundation program. So as you see, it's a wide range of qualifications that we accept for the foundation program. For foundation program in science and engineering, there will be subject requirements depending on the pathway that students they want to study. The subject requirement will be either maths and physics or maths and chemistry and biology in the final year. And there is also grade requirement. And again, you can find all this detail on our website. Then you will see the entry requirements by country. And I wanted to highlight here for the law pathway, the law foundation. If students, they have studied a qualification that's accepted for direct entry, for example, A level or IB, then students, they are expected to achieve the direct entry requirement. And foundation if they want to study foundation, the entry requirement will be exactly the same as direct entry for students who have taken A level or IB or those qualifications that's accepted for direct entry. And the entry requirements for integrated foundation, humanities and social science integrated foundation, again, we can accept high school diploma for many countries. For science and engineering integrated foundation, just be mindful that students will need a qualification that's equivalent to year 13. That will be A-level or IB or US diploma with 3 or 4 APs. If they don't have the international qualification, then students can do the 1 year standalone foundation in science and engineering. In terms of the English requirement, for the 1 year option, it's either 5.0 or 5.5, depending on the pathway that they're choosing from. Integrated foundation will be 5.5. So if students are studying the 1 year standalone foundation, then students will need to provide UKVI IELTS as well. But if they do the integrated foundation, then it can be the normal IELTS academic certificate. We also offer 9-week pre-sectional course for our foundation students. If they do not achieve the entry requirement, then we can accept as low as 4.5 to do a 9-week pre-sectional course in the summer. So how to apply? So for the 1 year foundation program and also the 4 year integrated in humanities and social sciences, you can apply via the agent portal. So that's very straightforward. If students are interested in the 4 year integrated science and engineering foundation, then that has to apply via UCAS. And if you remember, we just talked about the 4 year integrated science and engineering foundation. We'll also need the year 13 qualification like A-level and IB. So that's why students will need to apply via UCAS. For the supporting documents, again, it's very straightforward. So it's the high school transcript so far for the students, personal statement, and if they have IELTS, then they can submit IELTS at the point of application as well. No reference is needed. Okay, so that's all from me, and I'm going to hand over to Chris to talk about the foundation program.
Thank you, Xiaoying. So the International Foundation year, as Xiaoying has explained, has 2 routes. Essentially, you can go with the 1 year standalone foundation or the integrated courses, which are available within the School of Business and Management, Economics and Finance. Xiaoying, can I just check that my slides are here? Yes. The structure is exactly the same, irrespective of the pathway that you choose. In total, this is 120 credits, which is divided between 4 modules in 2 semesters each. Your course will be determined by the pathway that you choose. So if you're studying business, as you can expect, your pathway subjects will be related to business, marketing, accounting. Same would go for if you selected a more humanities-based degree, such as English literature, film, and drama. You can expect to study English literature and film. But within all of our pathways, we have some flexibility, and these are called electives, which is an opportunity for students to progress not only into their designated pathway, but this also gives you flexibility if you choose to progress into another school within the same faculty related to the elective that you are studying. Now, for all the students, there's also a core module, which are the English language and study skills in the first semester, and then an independent study project in the second. These are designed not only to fundamentally transform your ability to communicate with academic, written, and oral discourse. This also gives you a real background into how to manage your time, acquire the study skills, and ultimately the professionalism and soft skills that are necessary to do extremely well in your course. All students are also offered 2 hours a week of what we call professional and academic development, which has a number of different activities connected to not only your course, but the wider university and the community. We have regular mentors who come from previous years after they've finished the IFY to help you develop and monitor your progress throughout the year. We also consider this professional development because we target the diplomatic and soft skills that will serve you for life. And then there is specific support for each of the subject modules that you're studying. Next slide, please. So for each student, you can expect between 19 to 20 hours of contact teaching on campus. Just like an undergraduate, this is composed based on lectures and seminars where we will give you targeted activities to do before you attend those lessons so that you'll be fully prepared to take in the content, whether that's through readings, video, written tasks, which will be followed up as homework, as you can expect undergraduates to do, of course, at level 3, so that you're able to develop across the year and become fully autonomous. We also provide a significant amount of support for office hours and personal tutorials with not only your lecturers, but a personal advisor, far more than you would expect as an undergraduate. We have a pastoral tutorial with your personal advisor every other week for about 30 minutes. So this monitors your progress and makes sure that you're on check, as well as the checklists to help you manage your workload. And as a Queen Mary student, you are essentially the same as undergraduates and postgraduates in terms of your access to all the spaces, societies, clubs, a full and rich university life that makes you feel completely part of the community. And as noted before, we feel that this course provides you with a significant advantage because you are more prepared for undergraduate study when you begin. What we find is that students who have done the IFY typically outperform those who have not done a foundation course. This is not only noticed in the first year after a student who completes the IFY starts their undergraduate degree. We tend to find more than 65% of them are achieving either an A or a B average after their first year. And this progress continues throughout the entirety of that 3-year degree, because we find that more than 80% are typically receiving that first or second upper class degree. That's essentially an A or a B after they complete their undergraduate. So these are skills for life. We set you up with a strong base, and we hold your hand enough from the beginning and then slowly let off the support mechanisms so that you will be fully functioning as an autonomous and highly capable student by the end of your foundation year. Thanks, Shagun.
Great, thank you so much, Chris, for the very useful introduction to the foundation program. Just a reminder, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the Q&A and we will come to it at the end of the session today. Great, so now we're going to move on to talk about the pre-master's programs at Queen Mary. So we are really pleased to have the pre-master's programs here to assist students who want to study a master's degree here at Queen Mary. So the pre-master is like a bridge year for students who need to enhance their academic or who like to change their subject areas to study. So for the pre-master's programs, we have again 2 main streams, one in the humanities and social sciences, and the other is in the economics and finance. Similar to the foundation program, we have both the standalone pre-masters and integrated pre-masters currently offer in 5 main degrees: MSc Management, MSc Banking Finance, MSc Investment and Finance, MSc TESOL, and MSc Marketing, which is new for September 25. So for our pre-master's program, it's been run for a long time as well, for over 15 years here at Queen Mary. And it's again the university-owned pre-master's program that's run and taught on campus and taught by our excellent academics here at Queen Mary. And for the pre-master's programs, there are 2 intakes in September and January, both of a progression to the master's degrees in September the following year. So tuition fee for pre-masters in 25 is £24,000 for the pre-masters year. For the pre-master's programs, it also offers guaranteed progression to a wide range of master's degrees optioned at Queen Mary here. And as we can see here, it's really high progression rates. 85% of our pre-master students over the last 3 academic years successfully progressed to their chosen degrees here at Queen Mary. So here is a list of progression options for our pre-master students, which you can find the details on our website. So you will see there are many degree options in the School of Business and Management, School of Economics and Finance, as well as some other courses in, say, School of the Art and computer related degree, or some degrees in psychology. So it's a wide range of options for our pre-master students. And we're really pleased to have added some new progression degrees for our pre-master students in different schools here, as you see. So in the School of the Art, we have MA Digital Media and Global Cultures, MSc Linguistics and AI, MA Creative Arts and Media, and MA Translation and Adaptation Studies. So 3 of these programs are new in the School of the Art, and we're really pleased to have added them as a pathway for our pre-master students that allowed them to progress to this degree after the pre-masters as well. And for the Faculty of Medicine and Dentistry, so we have MSc Creative Arts and Mental Health. That's another option that's added to the Faculty of Medicine and Dentistry, along with some other existing mental health degrees already. And then in the Electronic Engineering Computer Science department, we have this MSc Data Science and Artificial Intelligence as a new progression route for our pre-master students via the Finance and Economics pathway. And for the integrated pre-master, so as just some briefly introduced, we have 5 options here for our students. So these are great options for students, as students will get 1 course and 1 visa covering both the pre-master's year as well as the master's degree here at Queen Mary. So so there's obvious benefits for students if they are really interested in the program that they want to study, if they have confirmed what they want to study at the time when they do a pre-master, and this is a great option, and that will save them time to apply for another visa after the pre-master's program. And for the entry requirements, it's the same for the 1-year option or the integrated option. So just be mindful about the IELTS requirement though. The IELTS requirement is 5.5 overall and 5.5 in all the sub-scores for the pre-master's programs. And there's also internship option available for our pre-master students. So after the pre-master year, and before they start a master's degree in that summer, if they want to, then they can choose to do internship here in the UK, which is a great opportunity if they want to get some work experience here in the UK. So for the pre-master's entry requirements, we will look for a pass or pass in the UK bachelor degree or equivalent if they study overseas. We also accept diploma as well for the entry to pre-master's program. And for the pre-master's programs, it's also worth bearing in mind that students will need to pass all the final year module. If they fails in the final year modules, then that will be considered on a case-by-case basis. And if students, they are interested in studying economics and finance pathway, then there will be some level of maths or quantitative element in their bachelor degree before they come to the pre-masters. And again, for the English requirement, like I just mentioned, it's 5.5 overall, including 5.5 in all the sub-scores. Great, so that's all from me, and I'm going to hand over to Jenny to talk more about the pre-master's program.
Great, thanks, Xiaoying. Yes, hello everyone. Nice to see. Well, I can't see you, but thank you for joining the session this morning, and it's my pleasure to tell you a bit about the pre-master's graduate diploma. I'm Jenny Brown. I'm obviously the person who runs it. Could you move on, Xiaoying? So as Xiaoying mentioned, it's a very well-established program. We've been running since 2004, and we have progressed over 600 students, international graduates, to join over 50 master's programs in 8 different schools at Queen Mary. We're a level 6 program, 120 credits, as Xiaoying mentioned, 2 pathways, humanities and social sciences, and the finance and economics pathways. We take students in September and January, and they both can join the master's program in the next consecutive academic year. And we find that almost all our students wish to stay at Queen Mary once they've joined the pre-masters program. They already have that in mind, and we're able to manage the internal application process, successfully and support them in that. I don't think there's too much else to say there that hasn't already been said by Xiaoying, but quite diverse profile of students. And yeah, as you can see, IELTS there is 5.5 in each component onto the pre-masters element. Thank you. Just measures of our success over the years. In the last 3 years at least, our pass rate for the master's pre-master's graduate diploma has been almost 100%, 95% in fact, which means that almost all the students who join this really intensive program will complete it and at least get the graduate diploma. The graduate diploma. Of those, 85% will progress into their master's program at Queen Mary. And the third bubble there indicates that 82% of the students who completed a master's degree, having completed a pre-master's, achieved a distinction or a merit in their master's degree. So I think that final statistic is a very good measure of our success in really successfully preparing students for PGT study at Queen Mary. Other universities are also interested in taking our students. I just picked out a couple of students from, I think, 2 years ago. Zahua completed the pre-masters at Queen Mary and joined the LSE, London School of Economics, to study sociology. As you can see in his reference there, he says, I'm about to embark on my next chapter at the LSE. Most of the credit should go to the pre-masters program, as I wouldn't have been able to get there otherwise. So although there are no progression arrangements in place with these Russell Group universities, we do have students joining with good pre-masters results, and they do join other universities in London. Likewise, Dina at the bottom there, she studied finance and economics pathway, and she has now completed finance analytics at King's College in London. So the pre-masters does support those kinds of applications, and we're happy to support students in those efforts. What does the pre-masters diploma actually look like on the ground? Well, I've mapped out the subject choices that students have. 2 pathways. This is the HSS pathway. Students will study 10 hours per week of academic English. In addition to that, they will study research methods modules in semesters 1 and 2, leading to a 5,000-word mini dissertation, which is a fantastic synthesis of academic English and subject knowledge combined into one project. The subjects that we offer them on this pathway include business, international politics, film, and foreign language. And the students will choose 2 of those subject areas depending on the pre-masters, on the master's destination. And those comprise 8 hours of tuition per week. So you can see from this that students really have a very intensive course. We're talking about 18 to 20 hours in the classroom, plus tutorial time with a personal tutor to discuss any academic or perhaps personal issues. Likewise, the finance and economics pathway, I won't run through this in so much detail, but you can see the subject areas mapped out there. In this case, there are no electives. Students will study the subjects you can see across 2 semesters in order to qualify for the graduate diploma and, of course, progression to PGT study. Just to give you an overview of the business management modules, the kind of subject areas that students will be studying. On the left-hand side are the week-on-week subjects for semester 1 and their counterparts in semester 2. We develop theories of business in semester 1 and information about the business environment, leadership, marketing, management. Those theories and information then support students' macro level studies in semester 2 in the areas that you can see there. Just wanted to quote one student a couple of weeks ago who fed back on our business lecturer, Joyce Chewy. She's just joined us last year and she's had a fantastic year. And again, just like to reiterate the quality of the teaching that we have at Queen Mary. These are real subject specialists with doctorates in their target area. And that's really, really helpful for students to get the best quality of education. I've just highlighted, it was quite a long bit of feedback for this particular lecturer. I don't know if these slides will be available later, but you can read through what this student said about Joyce's teaching, the quality of it, and how it supported him in his studies. Again, we've been through this just before, the range of subject areas across 8 schools. I'm very happy to announce new master's degrees. Xiao Ying mentioned some of them earlier. Our School of Engineering and Computer Science now allows us to, we'll take students from the pre-masters into a very popular subject area now, MSc Data Science and Artificial Intelligence. This is also, there's a conversion course available for students who do not have any quantitative background. That's a really exciting development, and we think that's going to be very popular. In addition, in the School of the Arts, there are a range of new master's degrees in the creative arts, the creative industries, which I looked up earlier, actually worth a statistic, 124 billion pounds to the UK economy in 2023. It's a very large area of expertise in the UK, and these master's programs will support students entering the workplace in those particular areas. Finally, just one note about the integrated programs. As you can see there, we have 5 now. The new one is the MSc Marketing with integrated pre-masters. We are taking applications for September 2025. It's not too late to apply. This is the 2-year program. The internships, I just wanted to highlight that. This is something we can offer to all students. There are a range of different internship options, but students really do need to be thinking about their career paths now, not just their academic paths. And we do a lot at Queen Mary to support students enhancing their profiles so that they are ready for the workplace, really in just a year's time, once they've completed their master's degree. This is a really important area, so we're very pleased to offer that. And just finally, just back to some more very positive feedback we received from many students over the years. I just wanted to highlight Filippo's feedback on the right of your screen there. Just to read it, just as a final comment. The lecturers of economics and finance and econometrics were amazing lecturers, very professional, patient and prepared. The students feel protected and understood. I found that the way we learnt in class was brilliant, and honestly, I feel that now I am confident, even though this MSc seems pretty hard. So a good way to end, making that connection between the pre-masters, of course, and the chances of success for students in their postgraduate studies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jenny, for the very useful introduction to the pre-masters programs. And now we're going to hand over to my colleague Henry from the Advice and Counseling Service team to talk about visa for our pathway students.
Cool, perfect. Thank you. So just give me 1 second and I'll share my screen. Right. Perfect. So yeah, as I said briefly at the start, I'm one of the international student advisors here at Queen Mary University. Before here, I worked up at University of York, another Russell Group university, and I'm part of the few people at the university who are able to provide immigration advice in the UK under the Immigration Advice Authority. So what we're going to cover today, so let's give a quick brief agenda. So we're going to go through some of the updates that have been happening in the last 12 months or so in UK immigration, have a look at some refusal data, both for Queen Mary data and Home Office wide, and then take a look at how to avoid common issues that come up within that, and also things to maybe look out for certain kind of applicants you may have. I put this on the right-hand side of the screen there, some caveats when we're talking about Queen Mary's data. It's very low observations of data, so do exercise a bit of caution in trying to draw any sort of like overarching conclusions. It's really just a small sample of our data that we can look at in quite a lot of detail, but we will look at the Home Office data, which is thousands of applications, which is a bit more, you can make a bit more informed decisions from. And then finally, also comments about signposting towards advice and counsel service, and also accessing our guidance, because we have loads of guidance on different visa-related matters that you and your applicants will be able to access. So first, I wanted to quickly just go through dependent restrictions. So as I'm sure everyone on the call is aware, that dependents were significantly restricted on the student visa route last year. But I just wanted to use this chance just to remind people who are not aware that at Queen Mary, our MRes courses are not eligible for students to have dependents. So I put a list of the courses that do. So I know we're speaking mainly about pathway courses today, but if anyone's moving on to postgraduate masters or further study in the UK, at Queen Mary, these are the only courses that make the person eligible for dependents on the basis of the course. I should have said I'm going to rush through some of these slides that may have a lot of detail on it, but hopefully you'll get the slides shared to you after, where you can spend a bit more time reading through things in more detail. E-visa update. So another thing that many people might be aware of is that since the start of this year, and well, it started last year, the UK government is moving to a digital first approach to its immigration system. So they're doing away with pretty much all physical forms of people's visa and moving to a digital e-visa instead. Many of your applicants coming this year, however, may still get their entry clearance vignette sticker in their passport. So they still may get that, but no one will have any biometrics resident permit cards to collect in the UK anymore. The key thing from this slide, I would suggest, is the importance of when someone's visa has been granted is that they set up and get access to their e-visa as soon as possible. One, it should make traveling to UK a more streamlined and smoother process. And additionally, they will be asked for what's called a share code from their e-visa as part of the enrolment. So they'll be able to get enrolled quicker and smoother if they have their e-visa set up well in advance of coming to the UK and starting their studies. But their decision letter, when their visa is approved, should explain to them how to do that. I've also got on these slides a video, but I'm not going to play that now. But when it's shared, it might be useful to
the UK Border and Immigration
to watch it
biometric resident
to watch it in your own time. I just wanted to quickly comment about electronic travel authorizations as well, because that's a new thing that's been rolled out this year, which many of you may be aware of. So the UK government has brought in this permission to travel, so it's not a visa. So it's for anyone who doesn't normally need a visa to come to the UK, has to apply for this. It costs £16, it lasts for a couple of years to allow them to come to the UK without a visa. The key thing I wanted to bring up is that if someone has a visa, so if they're coming with a visitor visa or a student visa, they don't additionally need to apply for an ETA. So anyone you are supporting who is applying for a student visa and coming to the UK, they don't additionally need to apply for an ETA, and I would advise against anyone doing so as well. As you're probably also aware, at the start of this year, maintenance amounts went up for student visa applicants. So it is now £1,483 per month of studies up to 9 months. So anyone on a course of 9 months or longer would need to show £13,347 for their student visa, unless if the course is less than 9 months. And I just put a caveat there just to remind that these are the sort of minimum amounts that the Home Office is asking for the visa. It is in no way an indicative, realistic idea of how much it costs to live in London. So do make sure that any of your clients and applicants are fully informed and understand a bit about, you know, what the costs are to do living in London. Don't use the student visa funding amounts as a true reflection and saying, oh, if you meet that, there's going to be, you know, that's enough money. They do need to research things a bit more thoroughly and realistically. So I'm just going to quickly do some things on refusals. So having a look at the refusal data. So first looking at Queen Mary's refusal. So this is for September applicants. So we haven't had for this coming 2025 yet, but from 2024 and before. So after a bit of an increase the year before in 23-24, we've kind of like remained somewhat static in terms of our indicative refusal rate. So still quite low, really, not over a massive concern, but still ideally we don't want to see any refusals. It's not good for the university in terms of our sponsor license and also for the individual students. Obviously very disruptive for them, costs them money, and some may end up not being able to join their studies because of making errors and mistakes with their visa application. It's always something we want to avoid when we can. But I wanted to show the breakdown by study level because I thought that was quite relevant for this call today, because I know we're talking about people on pathway courses. So some people maybe below RQF level 6, so degree level. Because on here, so what I've done here, this is a breakdown of all our known refusals by the study level. So RQF 8 is like PhD, RQF 7 being masters, RQF 6 being undergraduate, and I believe pre-masters as well, and an RQF 3 being more foundational courses. And the bit that's bolded on the right is the refusal rate for just people who need to submit evidence with their visa application. So people cannot benefit from differential evidence arrangements. So for people who are unaware, that's the people who must submit financial evidence with their visa application. Because looking at the data, we saw that it's realistically unfair to compare people who need to submit financial evidence with a visa application to those who don't, because as soon as someone needs to submit financial evidence with their visa application, they're just more likely to get a refusal, regardless of, you know, what their actual nationality or their application is, because their application has been more fully looked at Queen Mary, by the Home Office. So for example, here we can see for people who had to submit evidence with their visa application and who were coming to study an RQF 3 level 3 course at Queen Mary, there was quite a high refusal rate, especially compared to the other levels of study. So 11.76, so that's over 1 in 10 being refused. So that is quite high. And it is something to be aware of. The Home Office understandably do monitor trends themselves. So if they have a certain study level or nationality that's they see more issues with, it in turn can make them consider those kind of applications more carefully and thoroughly. So as always, anytime you do need to be, when supporting an applicant, always be sure that they are fully prepared and they're making everything correctly with their application. But it's just being aware that, you know, possibly coming people at RQF level 3 may have even more scrutiny, which may lead to longer processing times as well, because the Home Office may be looking at it in greater detail. So yes, wanted to flag that in the call today to be aware of. I'm just going to also go through these are the reasons we saw for refusals for September 2024. So insufficient funds is where simply the person just didn't have enough money for their application, regardless of any other rules. Credibility, which we'll talk about in a bit more detail as well. So when they've had an interview and been refused on that basis. Third-party funds, when they've used a document from someone they couldn't use financial evidence from, so like a sister or a grandparent, because only parents and legal guardians can be used. 28-day funds, so when the money's been held, they have the right amount of money, but it's not been held continuously for 28 days. document requests when they've been asked for a document and have not provided it, or at least Home Office have claimed they've not provided it. Non-acceptable accounts, so this could be when someone's like used a business account or something that's not allowed within the rules. Reusing a CAS and also withdrawn CAS. Old funds, so similar to the 28-day funds where they had the right amount of money, but the bank statement's like too old, it's older than a month. Verification, where the Home Office have tried to contact normally the bank and they've not been able to get the document verified. And then finally, deception, where the Home Office has accused the applicant of trying to work deception, as in try and lie in their application. But overwhelmingly, the most common reasons for refusal was people simply not having enough money in their account. So we'll have a bit of a look at financial information very quickly, just to run over that again, and also credibility as well, because there's a good chance that's going to come up more and more with your clients going forward from the Home Office, it seems. But we'll have a quick look at Home Office refusal data before doing that. So this is all the data that's published by the Home Office. And I've got a note on the data there where this has come from. So the student visa refusal rate for 2024, so the year end in 2024, was just under 3.5%, which is an increase from the year end in 2023, when it was 2.85%. And what I've done is I've taken out the nationalities of people with an above average refusal rate for 2024, sorry. So you can have a bit of a visual look at which nationalities are getting above average refusal rates. And on the right, I've also put what their refusal rate was in 2023 and coloured it red if we've seen an increase to 2024, or green if it's decreased. And what you can see, the majority, bar the exceptions of Ghana and Russia, all these nationalities have seen increases in their refusal rates from 2023 to 2024. So there is a little bit of a trend there. If you did look a bit deeper into data, you may actually see that there's a lessening of some refusal rates between Q4 of each year. So when we look at the data next year, it may not mean that all these things are increasing, but at least from 2023 to 24 they have. And ones I wanted to pick out there, where there has been very significant increases, is Afghanistan and Bangladesh. And also pointing out that these refusal rates are not, it doesn't mean that everyone else has been granted. There's a lot of withdrawals within this data as well. And withdrawals rates can be quite indicative that there's or could be indicative that there's delays for that nationality or that group of people, because they're more likely to withdraw the application because it's taken too long. So for example, with Afghanistan, actually only less than a third of applications were granted, which is a big decrease from 2023. And similarly for Bangladesh, but not as worse. But yeah, only 78% were granted, which is a very big drop of like almost 20 percentage points from 2023. So again, with anyone, it's always advisable to make sure the application is completely correct, applying as soon as possible. But for any applicant from a nationality that's got very high refusal rates or high withdrawal rates, it's just like so much more likely they're going to experience delays and issues with their visa application. And it's just about preparing and realistic with that as possible. But yeah, if anyone's unfamiliar with the Home Office's data, I highly recommend using it and accessing it. There's a lot of publicly available data out there that you can use to sort of get a bit of insight into what you might have from your clients. So yeah, quickly on credibility refusals. So I won't go through all this here, and this is on our web pages as well. But yeah, I think for people, especially on RQF level 3 courses and maybe places like Bangladesh and Pakistan possibly, there is going to be a greater chance of being invited for credibility interviews, because the Home Office may be interested in speaking to those kind of applicants. So it's important to know you can never coach an applicant what to say, but you can make them aware of the kind of things they'll be asked. You may already have lots of experience that from yourself, and no one can tell applicants, well, we know this is what's asked. We have on our web pages as well what kind of questions, just so the student's already thinking about and is not being caught out unfairly just because they've not prepared for that meeting. Financial evidence, so just Obviously, I know everyone on the call will know this of what's needed for a visa application, but I just wanted to emphasise it again. And we do at Queen Mary stated on the CAS portal exactly what amount a student will need. So really, there should be no excuses for the applicant not knowing what's required for it. And I'm going to rush this through because I know these are things that people will know already, and we'll share the slides as well. One thing I wanted to emphasise on here for a bit about differential evidence arrangement countries. So for people who don't need to submit evidence but still need to meet the requirements, it's very much our advice to not submit evidence unless it's explicitly required or if it's been requested. So for example, applicants from China, they do not need to submit financial evidence up front of their visa application. And we would advise not doing so, because if they do submit it, then it has to be checked and it has to be assessed. So if there is something wrong with it, the application will very likely get refused, and also likely to take longer because that evidence needs to be assessed, possibly verified, mainly to a verification check. So if they have a nationality on that list, don't submit the financial evidence, but still get it prepared. And because the Home Office reserve the right to ask the applicant for that evidence, and if they can't provide satisfactory evidence, the application could be refused. And also pointing about here for EU applicants who may not need to provide financial evidence, but it's very important they state in their CAS request to Queen Mary if they are applying from the UK, because an additional assessment needs to be done by Queen Mary to update the CAS to say that they can apply in the UK. So again, I'm not going to go through this in detail, and the slides be shared. One thing I just wanted to emphasize is in the bottom right there, so about money used in different currencies. So the Home Office will always use the currency conversion rate on the date of the application. So the date the student submits the application online, and they use the currency conversion Rwanda. So you can always be sure that the currency conversion, the money's correct by using Rwanda and the rate on the date of application. And then there's just these exceptional currencies here where that's not used and a different arrangement is made. For anyone supporting Iranian clients, I highly recommend you're fully familiar with that, because it's a wildly different conversion rate the Home Office use for their calculations in that case. Again, I won't spend too much time on this, apart from emphasising the thing about parents or legal guardians, because that's always the thing that gets confused about. So make sure that any of your applicants are aware that they can only use parent or legal guardians, bank accounts, no other family members. I'm going to rush through this because it'll be all shared separately, but it's just basically being prepared for what to do when arriving in the UK, and that documents can be still checked then. This is who we are, an advice and counselling service. So as well as providing visa advice, we also provide a lot of services in terms of counselling, mental health, well-being, sexual assault and harassment, and also money advice and more practical advice as well. So really good resource for your students. Once they do come here, they can access our full range of services, but at least for ourselves, they can also, any applicants can get in touch with us for visa advice. We've got loads of guidance on our web pages. So on there, we've got full detailed guidance documents that you can use yourself, signpost students towards. It goes through everything we talked about in here, but in much, much more detail. And yeah, just a sort of like a thing for here. So do encourage applicants to contact us. If you're aware of any issues or trends, do feed it back through the global engagement team so we can be aware. Just be aware that we can only advise applicants directly, so we can't provide immigration advice via a third party like yourselves. We would need to speak to the applicant themselves. Finally, just a quick thing, if anyone wanted to take a scan of this or anything, it's just a sort of a one-stop place for a few relevant visa links instead of trying to give you loads of links for different parts of our web pages and things on UK government pages that are relevant for making visa applications. I'm aware I've already run over there. I know I've rushed through a lot of that, but yeah, hopefully we'll be able to share those slides with you so you can look through it in more detail. And yeah, there's loads more on our web pages as well.
Thank you so much, Henry. There's a lot of useful information, and I'm sure it's great timing as well. Now that we're closing closer to the summertime for the visa application, so lots of useful information for our agents. So just a reminder, if you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A chat, and we're now coming to the question session now. I can see that 2 sessions here already. So first question, would you be able to accept students for integrated foundation in case that the application for the bachelor has been refused on UCAS? So we definitely welcome students to apply for the integrated foundation if they do not meet the direct entry requirement, and that will be depending on the qualification that they're applying for, and also the final grades that they achieve. But yeah, we'll definitely open and welcome students to apply for the integrated foundation. And if students are interested and if they want to be considered for the integrated foundation, then please do let us know, then we can advise their eligibility and if they are eligible for the foundation program. And another question here about CAS. So the question, student can apply for CAS only after all conditions are met and deposit is paid, right? Some UCAS applicants are getting emails regarding CAS, but they haven't met the offer conditions yet. I think I can answer this question, but Henry, correct me if I'm wrong. So students can start requesting a CAS by providing the details before the conditions are met and the deposit is paid. So once they accepted the offer and received the email from our CAS team, then they can start requesting a CAS. However, they might not get issued the CAS number until the deposit is paid and the conditions are met.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. Any other questions from anyone? Just to say that we will share all the slides today, so you have all the details, and if you have any other questions, then do get in touch with us and we'll be happy to help. All right. I don't see any other questions now. But like I said, we will share the slides after the session, so you have all the details. And once again, I wanted to thank Jenny, Henry, and Chris for joining us today. And thank you everyone for tuning in. And it's a really useful session to introduce the foundation and pre-masters. And so applications for September are currently still open for both foundation and pre-master, and you can still apply. And we look forward to welcoming your applications, and look forward to hearing more from you after the session today. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Bye now. Bye.
Bye.